Welcome back to another Kearys Carstore video, and in this video we've been asked so many times to talk about electric only cars. So I picked out a Nissan Leaf, which is the most common one you can buy on the road at the moment, and it's fully electric, and we're going to see how it fits into your life as a car owner in Ireland today.
Use your head and finger at carstore.ie. Find us in Cork and Dublin.
So the price of a full charge is actually cheaper than petrol and diesel if you charge at home all the time. If you want to charge at home, which you should do in electric cars, it's the cheapest, by far the cheapest way of fueling your car is charging at home. But to do that, you need a home charging unit. You can no longer really charge these bigger battery cars from a 3-pin plug. You can, but it's so slow, you really don't want to. You want to get a 7.5 kilowatt charger at home. They cost about €1,200. You get a grant from the SEAI of half that, so it'll cost you about €500 or €600 to €700 depending on which model you pick. There's a number of installers out there. Please make sure they're fully qualified electricians who are installing your home charging units. Do not take a chance with just any old thing you buy offline, and do not buy your charger off Amazon. Servicing these cars can also be considerably cheaper. There isn't any oil, there isn't any oil filters, there isn't all the normal spark plugs. That all disappears out of it. You're left with brake pads, which you don't use very often because this has what's called an e-pedal. We'll get into that in a minute. Most electric cars do. Also inside this car there is no sort of wet parts, we'd call that, which would be the engine itself, which would have engine oil and things in it. So none of that exists. So often the service is not only longer service intervals, but often it's quite cheap to service one of these cars too. So you're saving money on that end of it as well. This is a 40 kilowatt one, which, well, that's not going to be the longest range, but if your urban commute is quite normal and you're driving around Dublin or Cork or anywhere in the country, it's a big town, you'll find it's okay with a Nissan Leaf, no problem. There is bigger battery cars out there, but you're not going to get the same value out there at the same price. So what do you actually get inside a Nissan Leaf? Let's have a look inside this one, which is a 2018 model, and see what you're actually able to get. So this 2018 model of the Nissan Leaf is the same as you'll find right now as Nissan Leafs. There's no real difference in what you're going to get in it for the 2021 model versus the 2018 model. Some slight differences, some good kit and equipment. Now, speaking of kit and equipment, in a Nissan Leaf you're going to get pretty much everything that you'd really want in a car. And I mean, like, just start it up. So that's it started. It's zero emissions, there's no engine note, there's no engine noise is going to come on. It just starts, lights up. I have 70% of my battery in here, which says 91 miles. This one is a UK import, so you're going to get mile per hour on the screen. It is changeable. You can change the digital dash to show kilometers per hour and kilometer range and that sort of stuff on it too. It's no big deal. So we have air conditioning and heat in here as well. We can do both, and we can turn on to auto. We can do the whole lot here. It's easy peasy. Also, I have heated seats both on the front here as well. All electric cars are automatic. They don't technically have a gearbox, so I suppose they're all automatic really. We got an eco button, we got an e-pedal button. That is a complicated way of making the car slow down without using the friction brake. So instead of closing the brake pads to do things, you're actually using the motor turning to slow the car down. It's genius. You get used to it so quickly, and then you don't want to do it any other way. It makes brake pads last a lot longer as well. The steering wheel itself has got plenty of little kit on it. This one has active cruise control, which means that the car will follow along the car in front of it. It's actually able to keep you in the lane as well. We'll take it for a spin in a little while. I'll show you all that. And then you have all of your little dials and gadgets and things all over the car to help you keep in the lane and keep moving at all times. So the infotainment screen has all the information you need about kind of range and looking at past histories and stuff. But actually what you need to know is when you're driving that I have 69% of my battery, which can do about 148 kilometers. It's written on the screen in front of me. I can do that. Now, this one is a UK import, as you will find a lot of these are these days. So we don't have many electric cars in this country, but so the speedo is in miles per hour and kilometers per hour, but you can change the range into kilometers per hour on a digital dash. It's very nice. There's tons of stuff in here as well. It's a lovely place to sit. It's a nice place to sit, even on a long drive, and I have driven this Nissan Leaf quite a distance as well. Let's just have a look and see what else we get in our back seat of the Nissan Leaf, huh? So Nissan Leaf back seat is actually quite ample for 4 people. It's very big. So I can easily sit back here. I'm 6'1". I didn't move the seat. Still set up for me, no problem. There is heated seats in the back of this as well. They're on the side of the seat of the seat here. So you can turn the heated seats on as well, which is very nice place to be. Now the seats themselves, there is batteries under the floor here, and so there is space, so you feel like your knees are a little bit taller than normal, but that's, you kind of get used to that very quickly, particularly if you've got kids in the back seat of the car. Like I said, this is zero emissions, so this is actually started, it's running right now, and there's no sound in here either, which is kind of weird. You get used to that as well, but it's kind of weird at first. The back seat of this doesn't really have a whole lot more to it. There's no 12 volt socket or anything back here to charge up your devices from. You'd have to figure out a way of doing that separately, but they do look for them if you really want that in the back seat. We don't normally need it. We normally carry little battery packs with us whenever we go. Let's have a look at the boot. So the boot space in this Nissan Leaf is actually quite ample. There's quite a bit of space in the back of the car. Plus they have these little tethers and catches and things here, places to put stuff, and more importantly, places to put the cables you require to charge the battery on the street. You will have to charge up these on the street. This is a 3-pin plug one. It's called a granny cable in Ireland. So you can plug it straight into a 3-pin plug. It's pretty good. I wouldn't do it every night, but when you're away in somebody else's house, they don't have a charge point, that will work pretty well. It'll get you some of the way, at least. And then you also have the bigger on-street charger cables, these are called Type 2 cables. So you got those two. You don't have to carry all the cables around at the same time. If you charge mainly at home and you just commute every day and go home, you may not even need to carry that cable in your boot in the first place. But there's plenty of space in the boot of the Nissan Leaf. So you fit all your stuff in here. You'll probably be just a little bit too small for a double buggy, but you will find a way to put it in here. But pretty much everything else will fit in that boot. Tell you what we'll do, we'll take it over a little spin and I'll explain more about what you need to have for an electric car. So driving in this Nissan Leaf is just like driving any other automatic car. You just put it in D and drive on. Don't worry about it. You don't need to change any gears, do anything. You just put your foot down and pulls away with you. It is a very pleasant car to be sitting in to drive because it's really quiet. Listen. There's no noise from an engine, like nothing really happens as you drive along, particularly in traffic, because when you're sitting in traffic, you can probably hear some of the cars pass by now. But if they were electric, you wouldn't hear them. So it's actually quieter in here just driving along than most other of these kind of cars. Now, speaking of which, in traffic, when you're pootling along like this, you've got a 40 kilowatt battery in here. The rangeometer guessometer, they call them as well, tells me I have 147 kilometers range on 69% battery. I actually reckon I'll get more than that if I try hard. So if I was to turn off the air conditioning and open the window and drive along like that, or just reduce my speed, get used to using the e-pedal and the e-brake stuff, I think you'd probably get a lot further than that, than what it says on those things. I tend to just take them as what is actually called a guessometer. It's guessing how far you'll be able to go on that range. The objective is not to have your car fully charged all the time. Most people don't do this with electric cars. Most electric car owners charge to like 80%, leave it at that. It's usually enough. I do the same with my phone. In actual fact, I have an Apple phone. Apple recommend turn on their system of charging, so it only charges up the phone to 100% when you absolutely need it during a working day. Other than that, it doesn't charge at all because it prolongs the life of the battery. These electric cars, and we have a host of electric cars on the channel. We even have a Tesla Model S there as well if you want to get something else electric, but there is more and more electric cars coming onto the market. Certainly this Leaf would be the most common one you would see on the road. You see a lot more. You see Tesla Model 3, Model S, there's some abrasive Audis, a few Volkswagens coming back in as well. So there's a few electric cars around now, not just Nissan Leaf anymore, but Nissan Leaf kind of started the trend off, and it's kind of cool to see it still going on. So there you have Nissan Leaf. It's one of a range of electric cars you can have here today. It's that kind of move that's happening right now that you can get in on the early part of with an electric car. These Nissan Leaf will do your daily commute easily most of the time. It's only a handful of people that will be outside of the range of what this can do. Now, but there's other cars too. There's like the Renault Zoe, which is based on the same sort of platform. There's lots of different kinds of cars to choose from in the electric range. Our expert staff here will guide you through what you need to know with your grants, getting your home chargers. If you've ever any questions, you can always ring Kearys Carstore here in Dublin or in Cork, and they'll talk you through everything you need to know when it comes to electric car ownership. It really is very straightforward. I think a lot of journalists have overcomplicated the idea of what an electric car can and can't do. I'm driving an electric car this week. I'm driving an electric car for my holidays. I'm driving an electric car all the time and never really had any problems with it. If you've got any questions, leave it in the comments down below. We'll do our best to come back to you. Or you can just get onto carstore.ie, where there's now again 700 cars to choose from, and the lot has again filled up with all of our latest used cars on the market that you can have here, right here today. You can reserve online for €99. True, you know that? Make sure the car doesn't go away. This isn't a place for tire kicking. Look at, they come and go here so fast, the cars come in and out all the time. Thank you very much for watching Kearys Carstore video again. I hope to catch you in the next one. I'm off to get a cup of coffee, see what else I can find around here.
Use your head and finger at carstore.ie. Find us in Cork and Dublin.